Hello, Laverne here, and thank you for joining me. May this video be a blessing to you, and may it honor and glorify God in His kingdom. In this video, I'm going to be looking at the premise, if you will, that God does not exist, that He never did, that this life we are living is the only life that we have, ever will have, and so on. There is no kind of spirituality whatsoever. What then does this, or would this mean for the world? Well, there's a couple of things I'm going to be looking at, but I'd like to give you I guess the most important question of all then. If you gained information, if you gained knowledge that could absolutely prove that God does not exist, would you be wise? Would you be benefiting the world to share the information with the world? Or do you think the world would be better off to not have this information, to continue to believe that there is an afterlife and that there is a creator? What do you think? That's the, I guess, the gist of this video, the main part of it. And now I'm going to share why I believe that if I came across this information, I would keep it to myself, that I would take it to the grave. And I would do so not because I'm arrogant and I want to try and continue to deceive people, but rather because of my knowledge of what the average person is like, the heart of the average person, the condition of the average person's heart. I believe the world would be in great peril if there was ever actual proof that God does not exist. Now, to explain this, I'm going to look at some of the things that atheists claim. Atheists claim that the world would be in a better place, that it would be a better world to live in if there was no such thing as a belief in God, if faith was done away with, if there was no religion. According to them, according to many, the world would be a better place. But would it? They base this on the fact that, according to them, religion is responsible for the majority of crimes, atrocities that have been committed in the history of the world. When we look back over the past, say, 8,000 years, everything that we look at points to religion, according to atheists, being the main problem of the problems in the world today. But is this really the case? Can we say, and is it honest to say, that religion, or the belief in God, in any God, is the cause for the problems? I don't believe this is the case. I believe atheists are horribly mistaken when they make this claim. A better statement, a more truthful statement, I guess, would be that religion is the method, or it is the agent that people use to commit atrocities and evils. But religion itself is not the problem. The problem lies in the heart of man, the carnal nature within man. So, if we assume that God does not exist, never did exist, the question then arises, should we, if we have information, make it known to the world that God does not exist? I believe this is a very serious conundrum that atheists need to consider when they make these wide-sweeping statements that religion is to blame for so many of the problems in the world today. When they make these statements that the world would be better off without religion, how much thought have they actually put into it? Can we honestly say that religion is the cause? Or is it more close to the truth? As I have said, that religion is not the cause, but rather the method. It is the agent that people use to try and force their beliefs onto others, or try to bring about a change, such as, say for example, one country attacking another country for their resources, but using religion as the reason to do it. I also like to speak a bit on the fact that it's not just religious leaders who are the ones responsible. It is those people at the very bottom rung, the masses, that are responsible for much of the atrocities and the crimes that have been committed in the name of religion. The reason is that people have itching ears and they flock to those leaders, those religious leaders that will grant them the ability, will grant them the, I guess, what am I looking for? Simply the right to do the things that they want to do. In Christianity, an example of this is the prosperity message. There are many Christians who flock to pastors who convince them that it's okay to want and desire the same things that people in the secular world desire. It's okay to lust after and desire wealth. So people who want these things, they will flock to pastors that tell them it's all right. Same thing goes for cults and other religions as well. People will remain in, even though they are given the opportunity to escape or to get out, they will remain in cults and religions that satisfy their itching ears. So it's not the problem with religion, it's not the problem of any particular God. It is the problem with man's own evil nature, their carnal nature, that is driving them. That is the problem. Religion is simply something that people will use to get what they want. If a country lusts after the resources of another country, they'll use religion as a reason to attack them. If you have people who simply hate others because of their color, because of their belief system, for whatever reason, their sexual orientation, they'll use religion against them. But it's not because religion or faith is the problem, it's because of the evil nature in man. Man at his very core is evil. Now atheists try to refute this. Atheists want us to believe that at man's core, he is basically good, and that even if we take away religion, he will remain moral and will do good things. The reason is, according to atheists, that it benefits man if they do good things to others. That when man does good things to someone else, they in turn are good to them. So this is a reason, according to evolution, that makes sense to do good things for other people and not to attack them. But history has proven that this is not the case. When we look at examples of where religion is not a factor, people continue to war and commit atrocities and so on and so forth. A lot of people will point to Stalin and Pol Pot and so on. But what they won't look at is other examples as well. They seem to forget. In the United States, the Civil War had nothing to do with religion. We look at in North America, the North American natives before the European invasion. There were all kinds of wars and atrocities being committed by the Native Americans. And it had nothing to do with religion whatsoever. They weren't warring against another tribe because a particular god told them to do so. Religion did not play a factor in the wars that took place between North American natives. We look at Japan during World War II when they attacked North America. It had nothing whatsoever to do with religion. When you look at the kamikazes, they loaded up their planes and did suicide bombs into bombing into the United States ships. And they did not do it for any particular god or religion. They did it for honor, for themselves, for their families, and for the country. Religion was not a factor. So there are all kinds of examples where you take religion out of it, and the atrocities, the crimes, the wars would still have taken place. And then even then, when you look at the wars that have been committed in the name of religion, it is not religion that is the problem, but rather the evil nature of man. They use religion as a reason to do certain things. But this does not make religion the problem. It is simply a tool. Take away that tool, and man will simply find another tool. Instead of saying that God told them to do it, they'll say an alien told them to do it, that they have the blessing of an alien from Neptune or whatever. an alien came down, landed in their backyard, and told them they were supposed to do certain things. People will make up whatever reason they need in order to allow them to do something and not have to deal with their conscience. People desiring power, desiring what others have, will use whatever reason that can persuade others to get what they want. And if it's not religion, it will be something else. But now, what happens if you take religion out of the picture? What happens if you do actually prove that God does not exist? What would the world be like? Well, I put to you that it would be a pretty messed up place. Take God out of the equation. You turn every person into an atheist, and just imagine what the world would be like. I've had conversations with atheists, and they tell me that the world would be better off if people did not exist. These are people who do not believe in God, do not believe in an afterlife, but if they had the power, if they had the ability, they would do away with mankind in a blink. Now imagine if these people were in power. Imagine if they had, the button at their disposal and they had the ability to press it. Imagine if these people were given a briefcase with a bomb in it. I've talked to many atheists who believe that the world is just a terrible place to live in, and that they don't believe in God. You look at the suicide rate. The suicide rate for non-believers is disproportionately high to that of believers. So to think that suicide bombing would be a thing of the past if we did away with religion is false. More atheists try to commit suicide and commit suicide than what religious people do, people of faith. This is a fact. Now, if we did a flip of the world's population, say, just for example, 5% of the world's population today is atheists, are people who do not believe in any God. If we receive information that caused this to flip, that it changed, that 95% of the world's population no longer believed in God, in any kind of God, imagine what the world would be like. How many more suicides would there be? And how many of those suicides would involve taking out as many other people as possible? These are the things that atheists don't want us to talk about, don't want us to consider. They put forward this idea that the world would be a better place without religion, and it is an absolute fallacy. It's a false picture of what the world would be like. If they actually took a look at what mankind is like, even without religion, they would see that religion is not the problem. Religion is not the evil that atheists want to make it out to be. So what would you do? Whatever your belief system, if you had information that could prove to the world that God does not exist, do you think that it would be prudent to keep it to yourself, or would you share it to the world? Share it with the world. All right, as always, I do look forward to comments and messages. Till next time, peace and blessings.